for tuning in. Our next presenter is Trevor Treweek of Network Media Group. Mr. Treweek, you may begin.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Network Media Group presentation. I'm your host, Trevor Treweek, the Director of Capital Markets for Network Media Group, which trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol NTE. Today on our call, we have Derek Murray, the CEO. We have Darren Battersby, the CFO, and we have Ali Pejman, the Chairman. And before we begin, I want to make sure that everybody's read our forward-looking statements and all the finer details. I'll now hand it over to Ali Pejman, the Chairman.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks very much for listening in. I'm just going to introduce myself a little bit. I'm new to this group. I joined the group, I guess, back in February, and I'm excited and proud to be associated with this company. But my relationship with this company stems for the last 9 years. I've known Derek and Paul and Darren as they've kind of built this incredible platform of content company with brick by brick, carefully, methodically over the last 9 years. I caught up with them a couple of years ago, and I just looked at the big picture of what they have created, and I got excited by it. And I've always been supportive of entrepreneurs. I'm an investment banker that's funded many junior companies in sciences and technology, and I felt that there was a great opportunity, and I had a bit of a passion for this arena. So when Derek asked me to join, I thought, well, what would I be able to add to this group? And essentially, I guess from your perspective out there as investors, I'm here more focused on the capital markets strategy, how to ensure the name and the value being recognized in our stock and in our story as we kind of grow the company and methodically continue with that same pattern. So I see a great platform. I'm excited to be part of it. I think when you kind of listen here to what Derek has created and see the quality, which will show you a show reel of what network produces, and you've heard the nomenclature about how much content is king, and that's great and that's true, but it's about high quality content, and I think that's what network offers, and I think a lot of opportunity is here for us. So you probably want to hear from the president, founder, Derek, and so I'm going to pass it over to Derek and let him tell you all the great things.
Thanks, Ali. I appreciate that. Guys and gals, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate your time. We're going to go through this fairly succinctly and then open it up for questions, which we'd love to field as well. I think a couple of key points. We're a Canadian-based company, but we have a global business, and we're 100% focused on that global business. We work directly with the U.S. buyers, our international buyers, and, of course, our Canadian partners as well. And focus is really key. We are a very focused company strategically right from the very beginning and continuing to be. We are focused on the documentary series and feature documentary space, known as the factual space. You're going to hear the word probably throughout this presentation of premium content. That's really a buzzword that's developed over the last 2 years. What it's really saying is high quality content, as Ali just shared. And that's the business that we're in creating and producing and owning high quality content, high quality IP. I'm going to have Trevor just to really illustrate that much further for you and give you a visual. We're going to show you guys our show reel, which is utilized within the industry to really kind of open the doors and give our buyers a sense of the work that we do and the quality that we do. And we'll talk a little bit about that after this. It's about a 2.5-minute reel, but I think you'll enjoy it and will certainly illustrate, who we are and what we do and what we've accomplished over the last little while. Trevor, over to you.
Sorry I'm late. Did I miss the previews? Oh my God, you like your popcorn buttered too.
Wish he had a life wish, man. Wasn't even a wish, he was doing it. It was man on steel with an engine. Let's get it on.
He was hard-headed, soft-hearted, and That's what I loved about him.
He predated cool. There's Steve McQueen and then there's cool.
You're looking at an oblivious genius.
He was just this regular guy. And then we had a scene where he took his shirt off. And I was like, oh, okay, got it.
I like that reserved thing about him, easy to relate to.
I mean, he's like a hot New York bachelor.
That's some cool stuff right there.
This is one of the biggest heartthrobs on earth, taking on that character. That's an artist.
It so moves an audience to find a performer who shares their vulnerability with you.
This cat was like 32 at the March on Washington. He was like 25 in Montgomery. I don't know if I'd let a 25-year-old borrow my car. I have to think about it.
That's what made him, in my mind, the greatest fighter I ever fought.
Everybody stop talking now. Attention.
I'm Iggy Pop.
Once you put on the guitar, yeah, I really feel it. My crotch is up against the wood. Pussy to the wood.
My life goal was just to be able to buy food from playing music.
You know, guys going crazy.
Hey, man, pow! What the fuck?
You were dangerous. You turn into a little monster.
Now, water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Okay, and we are back here. Derek, do you want to continue with the next slide here?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes great sense. I hope that played well for everybody. The way this is set up, we actually don't have a visual of it, so hopefully that was playing to your satisfaction, or that was a 2.5-minute break to get a coffee. Hopefully either worked out. As I mentioned, you know, we are a company focused on the global marketplace. We create premium content for that marketplace. Our content's known to deliver world-class casts, visually cinematic, and very richly crafted storytelling. Our productions are consistently embraced by both audience and critics alike, garnering awards, record ratings, unparalleled media coverage for networks, and all of our various partners and international distributors. I think this is a really interesting time, very unique time in the business. We've seen a proliferation of the biggest media companies and tech companies enter into our world and create these individual streaming platforms, very competitive, and all of them needing significant content and all of them wanting premium content, which is, as I mentioned earlier, is our business. It's unprecedented times. I mean, you're looking at companies such as Disney, NBC Universal, Peacock, HBO Max, Apple TV, YouTube. These are all, you know, streaming companies, streaming services, content delivery services that have just come on board, just come online in the last 18 months. So for us, that's provided opportunities, more doors to knock on to essentially license and sell our content. So it's an incredibly exciting time, and it's growing. You know, we've identified recently that there are 15 new outlets, effectively buyers for our type of premium content. And again, that's just happened over the last 18 months. And we effectively have already, in a very short period of time, we're working with 6 of those 15. And the doors continue to be open for us to walk in and show our work and demonstrate what network entertainment has to deliver. I think the next slide would be interesting there, Trevor, with respect to that. That just gives you kind of a snapshot of some of the companies, you know, that we're in business with, you know, right now. And some of these relationships are ongoing relationships, and we certainly hope that all of them will end up being ongoing relationships, those that we've just started working with. But it's a very exciting time, and for these buyers, for these distributors, we're delivering documentary series and feature documentaries and very high quality premium content. I think with respect to that, you always kind of look at what's the demarcation point of that content. And let's go to the next slide, if you would there, Trevor. We call this, how do we rate? Well, there are standard markers in the industry that many of you may well know, Rotten Tomatoes or the IMDb ratings. Those are certainly representational of the way our work is received and the platitudes that we receive. It's interesting, on the AI project with YouTube, that's a decent rating, but staggeringly as well, 47 million views on our AI series that launched on YouTube at the beginning of this year. So it's quite extraordinary. You flip over to our Patrick Swayze doc, people talk about linear television and linear television not necessarily delivering the kinds of audiences that they typically did in the past, particularly with this competition. There's a feature doc that we did with Paramount that delivered over 2 million views on a premiere showing, which is extraordinary, and again, representational of the way our content is received in the marketplace. And it goes beyond that, really. I mean, we look at our content. I think we've had now 3 People magazine covers on projects that we've launched with iconic individuals, Heath Ledger, Patrick Swayze, JFK Jr. We've had our cast and our directors, and myself for that matter, on the Today Show, Good Morning America, Dateline. Our work is celebrated at film festivals with awards and sold-out performances. And so all of that is very important when you're building that brand, particularly in the U.S. and the global marketplace. You want to make sure that not only is your content premium quality, you want to make sure that audiences know about it, and you want to make sure that your partners are excited by the way the audiences and the media are picking up on the quality of that content and the stories you're telling, which of course influences our potential next realm of partners that we're already speaking to about new projects. So we've been really blessed on our path. We've built a brand in the U.S. that is well known within the industry, and coming out of particularly this last year that we've all experienced together and what's happened on the planet with respect to COVID, it's certainly been challenging, but we have an amazing team of people at Network that have really banded together, and we've been blessed because we were effectively in the middle of finishing films, which we finished, and we were starting projects as COVID really started to ramp up, unfortunately, in the spring and summer. What that means in our industry is in the factual world, when we start a project, we've got anywhere from 4 to 7 months of preparation before our cameras roll. And so many of the projects that we started in the summer and this fall are getting ready for cameras to roll in the spring. And, we feel there's going to be opportunities for us to film because unlike the scripted series or the big feature films, we have very, very small crews. We're talking 4 to 7 people as opposed to a couple of hundred. And so our COVID protocols are really on point with all of our partners, and we're prepared to start filming in the spring in a very safe fashion. I think we should go, if we don't mind, Trevor, let's just go to how we do it as our next slide here. And we won't, dig into this too deeply. All of this material is on our website, of course. But I mentioned our team. It all really starts with Tim. We built a team of top industry professionals, the best of the best in Canada. We handpicked people from the UK and the US that have now been working with us for many years. We have a solid core of employees of 30 employees, and we have built a company that allows us to visualize a project and really control all the steps all the way through. We have our own legal. We have our own development team. We have our own edit suites, 25 to be exact. We have our own post supervisors. We have our heads of production. We have our directors. We have our post team that finishes everything within our own building. So we're really controlling quality, and we're also being able to control costs and being incredibly efficient. This slide, how we do it, really just sort of talks very quickly about the market research we put into as we develop IP, Then we look at those concepts and start to do budgets and schedules. We attach our talent. That's something we're really known for, is the talent that we attach to our projects and that we're partnering with. I'll circle back on that. And then, of course, we're presenting our content and ideas to broadcast and distribution partners. In that avenue, we are then securing our global financing commitments, and we commence production, which, of course, leads to delivery anywhere from 10 months to 14 months. What's really interesting, and I will underscore, is that our projects are fully financed prior to production by our exhibition and distribution partners. We're not using money from our investors. We're not going out raising separate capital to fund them and hope they sell. The market dictates what we produce, and that puts us in a position where we control our costs, our revenues, our profit margins, and keep us working in a very efficient and confident fashion. I think we should go to the next slide, if you don't mind, Trevor. Ali, maybe you want to just get a little bit of a top line on our business and the fact that we're so able to scale and some of the key points.
Sure. Thanks, Derek. And so I think what the picture you've been painted so far is about a company that has a high-quality content creator in a market that needs it. So how are we getting there? Well, we've gotten there in the past with a very methodical approach towards it. We take very little risk in terms of capital, in terms of the return. So we're very methodical about the projects we undertake, and we deploy our capital in a very deliberate fashion. So in order to get a return, we don't go head over heels over something, and with that allows us the ability to control our destiny and control many of our intellectual properties as we kind of grow. So we are now at a stage where if you were to look at the company, you'd say it's a debt-free company. It's growing in terms of the number of people it's been part of. It is continuing to grow its hours of operations. And the risk capital profile is good because we talked about, as I reiterated, the limited investment in the development portion, but the uptake has been phenomenal because, again, it's all about the many years of the reputation built by the team here at Network and the broad team that underpins Derek and Paul at the very top of the group. The number of A-list talents that want to work with us and exploit ideas is phenomenal, and the trajectory looks very, very positive for us. So that's the way I would be looking at it from an investor's point of view. Derek, back to you.
Thanks, Ali. I appreciate that. I think there's another slide that just underscores what Ali was suggesting there, Trevor. It just really, the next slide will show, this gives you an idea. I mentioned earlier that during COVID, by no means were we stopped. We were delivering projects and starting new ones. And, we're in a situation right now where basically leading off in this year, we have over $14 million worth of productions that are in production now that we lead into the year with. And we have additional projects that are lining up over the next quarter that will come into play as well, making us a very successful year for us in 2021. And really, when you look at that next graphic where it says development pipeline, $100 million in development pipeline, that's our development team and all of our core creative people working together over the last couple of years, developing really interesting projects, attaching talent, as Ali mentioned, A-list talent to our projects. And these projects are now in the process of either they've been budgeted and scheduled and now are being pitched, or they're effectively in a position right now where they are being organized and prepped for design and pitching, which will go on over the next 4 to 6 months with that particular element of our pipeline. So we're exceptionally busy. We've got an amazing team. We've got some great projects, very high-profile projects in the hopper right now, and we've got a development pipeline that is absolutely second to none. I just want to touch a little bit about talent. If you look at network entertainment, you'll see that, with our artificial intelligence series I mentioned earlier with YouTube, that's Robert Downey Jr. as an executive producer, our partner. That's Robert Downey Jr. on camera for each of those episodes and narrating. And all of his involvement and that relationship, these are relationships that we orchestrate and we put together. And the reason we're able to work with such incredible talent, such as Robert, is because of the quality of our work. Getting back to that premium content, the quality of our work and our reputation in the marketplace gives them the trust to work with us. You take it back a bit further, you look at our Punk series, which you saw the graphic of earlier. That's John Varvatos, the international fashion designer, as an executive producer and our partner, and Iggy Pop, of course, Punk legend. And those types of relationships are not one-offs for us. Those are continuing. You're going to see over the next 3, 6, 9-month period, as we start to announce the projects and our partnerships, you're going to see a continuation of A-list talent that is working very closely with Network Entertainment as partners. And we're super excited and honored to be working with these people, and of course, honored to be working with the buyers and our distribution partners all over the world. I think the next slide, if you would, Trevor, I think that gets our CFO, Darren Battersby, to work here. Darren can just give you a little bit of feedback on, of course, the financials, and we're pretty close to getting to that point where we can open it up for questions.
Thanks, Derek. I won't reiterate the numbers. You can they're all published on our website and on SEDAR. Just a couple quick highlights that I'd like to point out for everybody. Revenues have been on the uptick here over the last 4 years. We were poised for a fairly strong 2020 when COVID hit, so we still posted some decent numbers, almost getting into our year end is November 30th, so we have one more quarter to report, so we'll be close to double digits in the millions for revenue. Most of that revenue is proprietary income, meaning we own the copyright to those, so that builds our library on those projects, which as you'll notice, has been growing. The royalties and distribution revenues we have grows every time we release a project. So we always have a back-end participation. Even in the service work, we still have we negotiate back-end participation. So growing that passive income year over year. I also like to highlight, we've had positive EBITDA over the last 4 years, and we'll post some more positive EBITDA in 2020. We have a strong and growing backlog, as Derek mentioned, as we're pitching and getting more projects in the pipeline to go into production in 2021. So currently we reported $14 million, but that will be growing as we get into year end and continue to grow as we get into fiscal 21. A key point too, just through this whole COVID thing, where lots of companies had to pivot and change, we were able to retrench quite quickly. We are a company that's lean and mean. We can grow quickly, and we also were able to contract very quickly. Limited overhead. We were able to keep all our core staff. We access the subsidies for rent and wages, which helped immensely to weather the storm. And then, we have the capital to get into production in fiscal 2021, get through all this and get into production where we hope to have a, continued strong top line and bottom line results.
Thanks, Darren. That's awesome. Trevor, we've only got.
Derek, I'm just going to do a quick capital structure.
Go ahead.
Network has a pretty clean capital structure. There's 74 million shares outstanding with 10 million options for a fully diluted share count of about 84 million. Notably, insiders own about 21% of that, about 15 million shares, with the CEO owning about 11 million shares. So debt-free, profitable, and growing with about a market capitalization of about $11 million. And I'll now open it up to some Q&A.
Thanks, Trevor.
So, the first question we've got here is, what would you say are the 1 to 2 things that investors should look for in 2021? Derek, you want to take that one?
On, Alan?
Sure, I'll give that the crack. I think what you should see from investors is more effort on the capital market side on raising our profile. This is one of our first conferences that you'll see in the ensuing year. So that'll be a very focused part of the effort. But I think the key thing, and we have to be very cautious about the things we talk about, mainly because of the A-list groups that we work with. And I don't want to overuse the word A-list, but they are the best of the best. and have certain disclosure timelines. We wish we could disclose all the things we're working on all the time, but I think you'll see some great content, great contracts signed from us, and it'll just show the where in the food group we live and with the partners we sign up over the next 12 months. I don't think I've got anything else to add to that. Hard to have these conversations when you can't get a response back from the questioner.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Ali. And another capital markets question here. Is there a plan to join the OTC or any other U.S. exchanges for investors?
Yeah, I'll answer that one. It's definitely a focus of the company. And yes, that is a priority coming into 2021.
Got it. Thanks, Ali. And maybe Darren or Derek, can you talk about your existing backlog for 2020 and 2021? 2021 and 2022.
Yeah, that's the project there that we have on contract. Some of them are in hiatus here, but soon to start production. So they will be revenues that we will be realizing in the next 6 to 12 months. Some of it a little bit longer than that, but most of it should be falling into 2021 as we anticipate getting into production here early in the calendar year.
Thank you, Darren. And Darren, could you maybe talk a little bit about the royalties or the ancillary revenues that Network's able to get, those long-tailed sort of recurring revenues?
Darren, oh, sorry. Yeah, so every time we, the proprietary stuff, we have the royalties. We get distribution advances to help produce the show. Once those advances have been repaid through worldwide sales and domestic sales, we then earn a participation where we retain about 78% of the revenues. So every time we release a proprietary show or we own copyright, that library builds and that royalty potential increases. And as I mentioned too, even in the stuff where we don't own copyright, we are always predominantly negotiating back-end participation. So there is a tailing revenue stream that we will get, and you will notice that on a quarterly and year-by-year basis on our distribution revenue breakdown in our financial statements. It's a growing revenue stream for us.
Got it. Thank you, Darren. Someone's asking about the revenues being quite lumpy in the past. What caused the spike in revenue in 2019? And then what type of revenue targets do you have for 3 to 5 years in the future? We've got about 1 minute.
Yeah, those are revenue recognition policies through our accounting requirements. We are only allowed to record revenues as we deliver. So unfortunately, it's an all or nothing sort of recognition as we go. So last year we had a AI project with Google, and we own copyright with that. So it was a significant amount of work that was only be able to record it as we produced it. So we delivered it near the end of most of it near the end of fiscal 2019 and a little bit in fiscal 20. So it's a big lump sum of revenue that gets pushed through the income statement all at one time. Going forward, yeah, we have, as our pipeline grows and builds, that lumpiness should smooth out as our deliveries will become more consistent. In the past, it was one delivery, then a gap, and then another delivery and a gap. Those gaps are getting smaller as the project pipeline grows.
Thank you, Darren. And Derek, just closing up here, do you have any final words or thoughts to leave towards the investors here?
Yeah, thanks, Trevor, and thanks, everybody. No, I appreciate everybody joining us today. It's great to be able to present, and certainly Trevor is available. He'll probably wince, but he's available 24/7 to answer any of your questions. Of course, we have a website and a presentation deck that you can download. We have a shareholders newsletter. We're doing our best to make sure that our partners and investors are well informed throughout our journey, and I suggest if there's any interest in one-on-ones or spending more time to get to know our company, Trevor's the man, and we're available and there to support him all through that process.
Great, thanks, Derek. And the company's website is www.networkmediagroup.ca. We encourage you to sign up there and, again, download the corporate presentation for anything we didn't cover. And then if you'd like to reach out to me, my email is Trevor, Trevor, @networkentertainment.ca. Great, and I believe that sort of wraps up our time here today. So again, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned as we continue to grow the business well into 2021 and beyond.
Thanks, guys.
And that concludes the webcast.